everybody, Patty Ann here. Welcome. Listen, I gotta pour my coffee, so hang on just a sec. And I'll do this while some of you are coming in. I know there are a few of you here already. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I think you're gonna like today's class. It's really something cool that I saw. It's not something that I made up. I've seen someone else do it, and so that's what where I'm basing mine off of. Let me get my computer or my laptop or my iPad going so I can see the chat. Okay. Alrighty. So anyway, I saw a girl named, I forgot her name all of a sudden, but she's at the Clever Someday website. I think her name is Kay. Yes. And I learned this from her, one of her videos or watching her online. And it's really something fabulous, and I think you guys are going to like it too. So if you haven't seen hers, Deborah's, we're talking about what we're making for dinner too. I have spaghetti sauce cooking in the crock pot all day, and Deborah's having Cornish hens. Sweet. You haven't made them in about 25 years. Yikes. Hey, Carmen. Hi, Barbara. Yeah. Hey, Chow. Good. Everybody's coming in. Good to see you. I think you're going to like what we're going to do today. As I just got done saying, it's nothing that I've come up with. I found it on that website that Nancy, and those of you in Patreon know who I'm talking about, that she had told us about once. It's the lady Clever Someday, and I think her name is Kay. And I saw this video that she had, and I really liked it. And I thought I would share it with you guys here, too. Hey, Deanna and Maria. Welcome. All right, so first I'm going to show you down here at my desktop what I'm talking about, what I'm going to show you how to make. So let's look down here. Okay, so these are the cards that I'm going to show you how to make, and I have the link, I think, down below in this YouTube video, but I have to make sure that I have the right one there. Can't remember if it's HFF or HHF. Tammy, you could probably say in the chat what it is. But anyway, these are what we're going to make today, or we're going to learn how to make today. These cards, and I think they're fabulous. This right here that was cut out is simply from the font that we use. This one is, okay, see this one? I kind of put it, after it was cut out like this in that shape, I put it on a white card. You can kind of see that there's the red cut out. So I put it on a white card just to see how I liked it like that. So there's one sample. Put that one aside. Here's another one, the same card, but this time instead of just putting it on a rectangular white card, let me move this down a little bit. There we go. I cut the white card out in the same shape. So maybe if I put something behind it, you'll be able to see that more clearly. There you go. So I think that's pretty cool like that. I think they're really neat. Okay, there's the second one. Another one that I did was this flower here, and I thought this one was really pretty as well. Again, I did the square behind this one, but there's different ways to do it, so I'll show you a couple today. I love this one too. Now don't be thinking you can only do just cards, because you probably see something else right here. This one I just did. And for those of you in our group, any of our Facebook groups, which here's the link to one of them, we are doing this thing where we're doing cards for kids. Now obviously I won't be able to use this one for cards for kids because it says happy birthday. So you guys, I'm going to rip this off of here after this little class and put some other sentiment on here that will work for cards for kids. So I needed to tell you something though. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, for this one, can you see that text? You can see it pretty well, right? That is Arial font. And now if you'll remember, usually Arial font would, if you were writing it with either a Cricut pen, or a Silhouette pen, ordinarily this would just go around the edges and wouldn't be filled in. But I'm going to show you how you can fill that in today too if we have time. So yeah, I think the colors are really pretty too for the seahorse. And I made him so this part, let's see, you can kind of see how that part's shaped just like the seahorse too. So anyway, what I was going to finish saying right quick is about this text. Let me show you something. And we went over this a little bit and learned all kind of new things on Saturday in our Patreon class. If you're not a member, you might like to check it out over there at patreon.com/PattyAnn, because we have a class every Saturday and we learn so much. What I did today was I just typed out the word in Magnolia Sky, the word Magnolia Sky, and everybody loves that font. This is the way it usually comes out, right? But if you use the technique I'm going to show you in Silhouette, and yes, it will work for your Cricut, I promise, because I'm going to show you it did. When you can fill it in and it's going to look just like this, and all you have to use is the pen tool. Okay, so on this side, actually, I made a great big M out of Magnolia, and look, when I did this one, I just did like a side, I don't know, what do you call that? A diagonal line, and I didn't put them really close together because I like the stripe look that this has. But the closer you put them together, the more it's going to look like a solid fill. But I think that's really pretty. That would, some of these things would be gorgeous with the foil quill pen. So, and as I said, I did do it with my Cricut Explorer Air 2. Pardon this little messy piece of paper that I was using. Anyway, so this is what I did first with my Cricut. I used the Cricut pen, and then this is when I filled it in. And as I said, I have the Cricut Explorer Air 2, and that's what I did this with. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that towards the end if I remember, and if I have time. If I don't end up having time, I feel like this has gone too far. I might just do another video maybe tomorrow or the next couple of days. That's probably a better idea anyway. Let me set those aside. And I did want to tell you this also. If you're using, let me get a few things out. If you're using a Cameo 4, I have a Cameo 3 and I'm starting to use my Cameo 4, and I was using the Cameo pen, this little pen right here, the Silhouette pen. I have to use this adapter set, and the adapter set, I keep passing it the wrong way. The adapter set says Cameo 4. Okay, and I'm putting my initials on everything because we're having a retreat not pretty soon, in October, and all of us are going to be bringing things. So I recommend that anybody who's watching it's going to the retreat, put your initials on all of your stuff too. It's not that anybody's going to take your stuff, but you know how when you find stuff on a table and you're like, I think that's mine. I don't know. Maybe it's hers, right? I don't know. So then you leave stuff because you don't know if it's yours. So this way you'll know it's yours. But anyway, in Cameo 4, to use this, I have to use this adapter. Just take this off and stick this in here like this. It kind of fits. There's this little piece right here that makes it fit perfectly. You just close it up, stick it in there, and away you go. If you're using a Cricut pen, on the other hand, you won't use the just plain adapter set. You will use the Cameo 4 pen holder, and that will allow you to use any kind of pen by using these adapters with this one in your Cameo 4. Okay, so the last thing I had to show you or tell you about was this thing, and this is just for anybody that's coming to our retreat. Make sure you filled out the conference form, because we had asked you in there, does your laptop that you're going to be bringing for classes allow you to put in one of these USB drives? The reason being is we're going to put class pictures or images that you need on this, and then I'm also going to be putting some videos on here so that you can take it home with you and you can re-watch what I taught at the conference, since there'll be 4 classes. Okay, enough of that. Let's get on to business and see how in the world you make these beautiful cards and only need a couple of fonts. So hang on just a sec. I'm going to have you go up to my screen. First of all, I could easily show you now. Here's one of the fonts that I use. See, it is HFF, like Tammy said, and this one's HFF Aqua Stencil. And for the Aqua Stencil one, that's where you get this really cute quotes. I love him. Seahorse. I looked online before I put happy birthday, seeing if I could find a sentiment that would be kind of cute or witty to go with a seahorse, but I couldn't find anything. If you guys think of something, let me know. But anyway, let's go back up there. So this is one of the fonts that you use. Hopefully you know how to download these. If not, all you have to do is this, and I'll just do it again for myself just so you'll know. Let's get rid of my little logo house so he's not in the way. All right, so the first thing you do is you go to dafont.com and look up whatever font it is you want to use. Then just come over here and say click on the download. And I kind of like to look and see how many people have downloaded this to see how popular it is. So I'm going to, whoopsie daisy. Oh, I clicked on it, so that's going to show me everything that's in there. Now let me go, well, I can just download it from right here too. So I'll download it. And since I'm using a Windows 10 machine, it comes right down here in the lower left-hand corner. And it tells the name of it, and it says it's a zip file. Mine has a 1 in parentheses, which tells me I've already downloaded this once, and this is the second time. So that's okay though. I'm just going to go ahead and open this. I can do this little arrow and say open. And I'm going to come to this area, and this file, as you can see, is zipped up. That means you can't get into it. It's zipped. You won't be able to use it at all. So you have to unzip it, or what's known as extract it. To extract these files so you can use them, all you have to do is look somewhere on this window that's open. It says extract all. So I would just click on extract all, and it's automatically going to come up to set the destination for those files. I always leave mine exactly the way it comes in, and they always go into my downloads folder. So I'm not gonna browse. I'm gonna leave it there and say extract, and then it's going to show me these extracted files. Now the one that I always like to get, if I have an option over True Type or Open Type font, I usually get the Open Type font. I don't know why. I think somebody told me once it was a better one to get. I should research that to make sure. But that's what I do. I always get the Open Type font. So I double click on that. It's going to open this, and it's going to let me see all of these things that are in here. Heaven knows I don't want to do a card with this guy though. Ick. Ick. But anyway, all I have to do now is say install, and it's going to install it right away to my computer. Okay, I'm not going to install it again because I do already have it installed. So I'm going to bypass that, but that's what you would do. And then when you come over to your silhouette, or if you're using your Cricut and doing something like this, you will not see it unless you close the program first and then reopen it, because it has to be loaded in the program as it's being opened. So if you go to silhouette and you're like, well, it's not showing over here in my font area, that's why you need to close it first, close your silhouette program out, reopen it, and it'll show up. Okay, so here are some of the ones that I've already done. And what would you guys like me to do, the seahorse or a flower? Tell me in the chat. I'll wait for a sec. Flower or seahorse, F or S? Take a sip of my coffee while I'm waiting. Hey Cheryl. See who else came in while I'm waiting. So let me know, what would you want me to do, a flower or the seahorse? Any requests? Flower. Cheryl won. She was first. Okay, Cheryl, I'll do a flower. Flower, flower, seahorse. All right, Deanna, we might get to a seahorse too, but oh, we had two flowers and 3 seahorses. Uh-oh. Oh, a lot of flowers. Hey, Dee. All right, I'll start with the flower, and then I'll go on to the seahorses, I guess. So let's move these guys out of the way. This is so easy, you're not going to believe it. You will have to probably watch my video a few times or take notes to do it, just because there's quite a few steps, but not so much that it's going to drive you crazy. You'll get it. All right, so let's get rid of that. Put this like this. and nice clean mat to work with. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here to the square or the rectangle, whatever, and draw out a rectangle. So I'm going to make that rectangle the exact size card that you guys know I make all the time, the A2 size card. And so the dimensions for that are, and I need this thing to be unlocked, which it will always be unlocked here in Silhouette. That's the default. But I'm going to make it 8.5 inches wide, 8.5, and hit enter. And then I'm going to make it 5.5 inches tall. Okay, so what that did was it made my full A2 size card, and you know what this means is there's a fold line right here, right? And this piece would fold over top of that one. So I'm going to put the fold line in here right now, but before I do, I think I'll change this to transparent. So I'm going to click on this, and I'll come up here to the upper left-hand corner where the blue color is, click on that, and I'm going to change it to transparent. So it's this little thing right here that looks like it would make hash marks in it. All right, so just click on that. So now it's transparent. Okay, that's my card. Now I'm going to draw the score line. And it's important to do this in the middle. I learned from that video that I watched, because when you start cutting off things on the edge, you may not know exactly where to fold it. So I'm going to come up here to this right here, which is the line tools, and get the first one, click on that, and then come over here to my rectangle. And I'm going to line this up pretty well. See my little crosshairs right there? I could scroll in, but you probably don't need me to. Click right there. I'm going to hold down my shift key though first. If I don't hold my shift key down and I think I'm going straight, look, see how I can go crooked like that, and I think, oh, I think my line's straight. That looks straight to me. I think that's straight. It's not. So I'm going to hit Control Z and get rid of that one. If I come over here to the line tool again, click on it, click right, hold down my shift key and then click right here and hold it. It's the only way I can make my line go is straight up and down, or I think, what is that, like a 45 degree angle? No, that angle, whatever that is. What is that? I don't know. Anyway, so it's easy to go very, very straight, just like that. So you may be thinking, but it's not in the middle, and you're right, it's not. So all I have to do is grab both of these and come up here to the top. This little bullseye looking thing right here. Which one? I've forgotten all of it. Okay, this one right here says center. This one, if you hover over it, says center to the page. So it's going to center it, watch. Okay, but I didn't really need that to happen, but that's okay. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start the fun process, and I really had fun making those cards. So I'm going to come over here to the text icon on the left, click on that, and then just come up here and click and put down any letter you want. I'll put down a V. Whoopsie, I already have that font selected over here, so let me get rid of it. Let me change something else. Okay, so now I have something else selected. It kept the last thing that I used selected. That's why it did like that. So let's say I have this V, and it came in usually at, what is it, Arial maybe is the most frequently used one, or what it usually comes in with. Arial. Okay. So I'll just double click on that, or I can single click on it. Then I'm going to look for that font that I downloaded. Again, remember, if it doesn't show up, you need to stop or close out your software and then reopen it, and it will. So these are in alphabetical order. So I'm just going to go down to where the H's would be. And one of these fonts is really weird. Look at this one. This one says HFF and then it has something. This one doesn't even say HFF. But I know I have two of them. So I'm going to click on this one and then notice what it says up here. It does give us the name of HFF Floral. So another nice thing, as you know, about using this program is you don't want to have to type out the whole alphabet to figure out which one of these things you want to use. So you can just come up here to the G for glyphs, click on that, and that will allow you to see all of the glyphs that are in here. And not only that, you can make them larger by clicking here. And not only that, if you hover over them, you'll see them even larger. So I'm just going to go through here, and I'm looking for one that's sort of straight up and down. That one's kind of cute. I think I'll just use this one. I like that one. I don't think I used it yet, did I? Sometimes I think I choose something different and I end up with the same thing again. All right. The only issue that we have with some of these is it's going to take a whole lot of the card up, because what I'm going to eventually have to do is have the very top edge touch the top of the card, the right side touch the right side of the card, and this bottom piece touch the bottom. So as you can see, this might take up quite a bit of the card when I punch it all out. So this might be one that you want to have 2 layers of card in there. Otherwise, if this is punched out, you'll be able to see right inside to the sentiments in there or whatever you've written. So it just depends on you. Just try things and see what you like. Let's just go with this one though, because I think it's cute. So the first thing that you do is you're going to offset this one. And this is why you can't do this in Cricut. You can do this here for your Cricut Explorer or your Cricut Maker, but you can't do this process in Cricut because there's no way to make a really nice offset. So I'll click on this, then I'll come way over here, and I got something in my way, there we go, to the offset tool that looks like a star with an offset on it. I'll click on that. Then I'm just going to click on the word offset. Okay, it made a nice offset right around there. Satisfied with that. So what I'm going to do is make sure that both of these 2 things are checked or selected. Right click and group. So I just grabbed the offset and the original flower, and then I grouped. Okay, so let's scroll in a little bit closer so you can see more easily. Where's my bug? There he is. Okay, so as I said, what we're going to want to do now is we want the top part of this to hit the top of the card. We want the right side, the farthest most thing on the right, to hit the right side of the card, and the bottom to hit the bottom of the card. So that's easy, pretty easy to remember. But see, I'm stretching this so the bottom will hit. So then I really have to move this over because I want it all to be inside. Okay, wait, I can move that up. So you guys, yes, you'll be able to watch it again and again and again. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I need to ungroup these guys, the flowers. I want to ungroup the offset and the original flower. So I right clicked on it and I said ungroup. And now we're going to do something with the nodes, something really, really easy with the nodes. You're going to love this, you guys, I promise. At least I do. All you have to do is double click on the card. You see that brings the nodes up on the card, right? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to come up here to the top where this piece touches the top of the card. Click. Okay, that's all. Now at the bottom where this piece touches the bottom of the card. Click. And that's it. Other than this, we're going to click on this node down here on the lower right till it turns white, which shows us that it's the active node, and you're going to delete it. Okay, this is getting weird, right? Now you're going to take this node up here. Notice it's already white, so it's active. I can just hit delete on my keyboard. Alrighty then. You're getting close to done, you guys. All we do now is this. Click on the offset of the flower, hold down your shift key, click on the card, right click and say weld. Okay, I don't know if you can see this right now, but what you have so right now is a card that this side of it is shaped just like this flower. But we don't want it just like that. What we also want to do is we want to cut out this part, all the blue, the real flower. So there's actually holes, kind of like if you look back here again at my seahorse, see all the little holes? So that's what we're going to be cutting out, or on the flowers. You can see all the little holes. That's what we're going to cut out. And we're going to cut out using a technique that you guys are used to if you're in the Patreon classes, subtract. So let's go back up here. click on the flower, hold down your shift key, click on the card. Every once in a while this doesn't work, and it might be because you have to bring the flower, right click on the flower and say bring it to the front. But let's see what's going to happen this time. Try it just like this. Click on the flower, hold down your shift key, click on the card, then come over to the modify panel. One of the panels we're becoming quite familiar with. Click on that and say subtract. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Now watch this, you guys. I'm going to change the color of my card and I'll make it purple. Look at that. So when we go to cut this thing, now all of these little pieces are going to cut out. But since it's a stencil, you're not going to lose anything. So let's look over here. If I go to send it, and I'll do it. Let's see, get rid of that. Simple, something, okay. Okay, I've got to go back one more time and do something. Notice that my score line's no longer showing. What I want to do is I want to right click on this and say move it to the back, because then my score line will show up. Before I do anything else with my score line though, I'm going to do something that we do not have to do for silhouette, but if you're going to use this in Cricut, you want to do this. And that's simple. Just grab this card, object, make a compound path. And you remember what that does? All of these little pieces might be individual little cuts, and I know they are, and I'll show you when we go over to Cricut Design Space. These would all be individual little pieces, but once we make it a compound path, it's going to be treated as just one compound thing, one thing. Make it a compound path. We lost our little score line again. I think it's still hiding underneath, so I'm going to take this to the back again. Yep, there he is. And so what I like to do with the score line is change the color of that by coming up here to the line color and make it green. And then if I want to, I can group these. And don't worry, because I'll go through this again. And we're going to go to send. All right. So a lot of stuff is showing up over here because of all the things I have off of my screen right here, off of my mat. So the only things I really have on my mat is this, which is going to be cut, and this green, which is going to be a score line. So those are the only two things I need to worry about. So what I'm going to do, if I'm using a Cameo, I'm going to use cardstock plain. I'm going to cut it. And the tool I'm going to use will be my auto blade. So it's switching everything I need to have switched over here, and turn my machine on just so it can make sense to it. Okay, so it's going to cut all of this. Now I recommend, of course, that you do a test cut, because I never leave mine on cardstock plain with the kind of cardstock that I have. I would ordinarily change mine to cardstock heavy and maybe even up my force to 33 and this, but I just know this from testing. I suggest you do the little test cut right here and see what works for the cardstock you're using. All cardstock's different. Okay, so pretend I have that all set up and I send that over to my machine. The next thing I'm going to do is I would have this unchecked. I would uncheck this one because it's done. Then I would check my score line. Well, notice right now, I do still have it as score because I used it like that. So notice right here, ordinarily it came in as a cut file. I would change it to score. And I would use the same blade, but it's going to be a real low setting, so it's not going to cut through. I could even change this down lower if I want to. But that's all you have to do for Cameo. Now let me show you for Cricut. So we would just go to File. I'll say Save Selection As, Save to Hard Drive. What is that color? I don't know what color that is. Flower. I'll just call it pink or Cricut. Okay, we're not going to save it as a studio file because we need to save it as something we can use for our Cricuts. And that's why you have to have the business edition if you're using Cricut. If you don't have the business edition, that's like $48, $58, something like that, you won't be able to save yours in a file format that you can use over there. If you have that one-time fee, you can own this program forever. Just click on SVG, Flower Pink for Cricut, say OK. I'll go over to Cricut and you'll see I have some of these already over here. I'm going to upload an image, browse, Flower Pink for Cricut. There it is. Open. There it is, coming in beautifully. Let's save it. The only thing is what we're going to have to do is resize it though. See, it comes in very small. But you can resize that however you'd like. If you want an A2 card, you would make this 8.55 wide, approximately wide, by coming up here and just change it to 8.5, enter, and that automatically changed this. Now this is a little bit tall for my A2 size card because they are only 5.5 inches tall. So what I would probably do is go ahead and change this one now 5.5, and then that would proportionally change it. The other thing I need to do, and this is weird, there's something weird on this file because I think I've used it before. If you get something like this too, look over here at the pink flower card. There's this crazy dot here and this crazy dot here, and I don't know why. So all I did was I just deleted them. I right-clicked and deleted. I right-clicked and deleted. And this, however, I'm not going to delete because this is my score line. But I don't want it to cut. So I just come over here. See, it's that green line. Come over here and change it from a cut file and watch what it's going to do to a score. Changes it into a score line. And then if we go to make it, oh, what did I forget to do? Those of you familiar with Cricut, you probably know I forgot to attach it. I need to attach it, otherwise it just goes wherever it wants to. So I'm going to attach it. I want it to stay on that one. And now I can make it. So there's the yellow one, and the pinky, and the red rose. So, okay, let's get out of there. Okay, so let me go through one more, and this time I'll do the, what do you call it? Seahorse. So once again, I would just get a shape and change the shape size to 8.5 and its height to 5.5, enter. Okay, that's the shape of the A2 card. That's the size I always use. Next thing I would do is probably make it transparent by clicking on this little thing right here or here. Okay. Then I'm going to get the line tool. Hold down my shift key, draw a line, let go of my mouse first before I let go of my shift key, because if I don't, I'm liable to mess it up. So if yours jumps out of where you wanted it, you need to be sure that you let go of, what did I say, the mouse key first and then the shift. Okay, so this isn't quite right yet, so what we need to do is just grab both, come up here again, center, perfect. All right, let's see now. I'm going to go over there. Oh, first I just have to come over here to the left, get any text, put any letter in here, and see it still keeps that last one with the flower, but that's not what I'm going to use. So I'm going to come back over here to the text style panel, go to the HH, and these are the ones that do have, or HFF I should say. This one is like that. Hey, look, a seahorse came up, but you know what? I happen to know there are two seahorses in here. There's one, and he's not my favorite. So I'm going to look for the other one. I'm going to go to the glyphs, and there he is. This one's just a little fancier, I think. Look, I'll show you. I just think he's cuter along that stuff. I like him much better. So I'm going to get rid of this guy. All right, next thing to do, offset. Offset. Okay, this one's weird too. Check this out, you guys. I forgot about this crazy guy. See how it offset these little things. So that tells me there are little snipsels, little pieces of stuff here that shouldn't be here. And if I scroll in a lot, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 places. If I scroll in a lot, you can actually see those little pieces of junk that are there that shouldn't be, right? So the way I got rid of those was this. I just moved. Well, I'm just going to delete the offset because I don't want it like that. That one just stayed here around these, and I got to delete it again around all of these. I can still see these little pieces here, so all I have to do to get rid of these is get this eraser tool right over here on the left. Click on the eraser, come over here and erase it. And erase that one. And that one. Sometimes I try to erase dots that I think are on this there, but they're actually on my screen. A little piece of this or that. All right, I think I got them all, so I'll try it again. Scroll out. Get this before I start erasing. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Control Z to go back. I'm going to group this. I want to group just him. So I'm going to grab this and move it out. And I just want to group him. Right click and group. And actually, if I want to, I could probably make it a compound path now. Okay, and now, so I just right clicked and I said make compound path, which instead of all these pieces being separate, little pieces, my computer thinks this is just one thing. So again, what I'm going to do now is come over here to the offset panel and hope those little blobbers don't show out the sides. And scroll in a little bit. Okay, offset. Okay, check it out. See how much nicer that worked? Let's look at it. We don't have all those little strange blobs, those little circles that had offsets on them coming off on him. Little weird growths. So I'm going to now grab both of these and group. I'm going to scroll back out, move this over. I'll bring this back down on my mat. And now we go to that one part where you have to make the top touch. Make the top touch the top of the card. Make this side touch the right hand side of the card. But I need to also make the bottom touch. So I need to make it bigger. Let's see. I'm going to move this over with my arrow keys. And this isn't quite touching the top. And I don't know how really accurate you have to be. But why not? I'll stretch it just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now the next thing is the nodes. Easy peasy nodes, you guys. If you're not familiar with nodes, this is an easy way to get to using them the first time. First thing though, let's ungroup him. Right click and ungroup. Because all we want to grab is the offset on him. First thing you're going to do is click on the box, double click or single click, and you can come up here and get the node or edit points tool. Same thing, you can either double click or come and get this. You're going to come over here. See how my cursor changes to the little arrow and the little diagonal line? That's when I can make a new point or node. I'm going to do it right where these two things touch like that. I'm going to come down here to the bottom, right where these two things touch. There. Okay, and now all I have to do is click on this node here on the lower right hand corner, the furthest one out. It becomes the active node. You can tell that because it's a little white square. Then just hit delete on your keyboard. Come up here. That one's the active one. Delete. All right, we're on a roll. Look at this. Something looks crummy, but not to worry. Click on him, the outer edge of him, the offset. Hold down your shift key, grab the card, right click, and weld. And if you don't like to right click and do things, what you could do is click on him, hold down your shift key, click on the card, and then come over here to the modify panel, and there's weld. And it's up here somewhere too, but I don't usually use those tools up there. And it looks like it's right there. I'm going to weld. Okay. Huh, that's weird. I don't know why that little piece is like that. So let me look at my sample one. I'm seeing if What, do I want to just get rid of that because I don't really need it? Yep, I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm not sure where this stray piece came from right here. I'm going to double click on that. When I double click on that, look at all these nodes, these little points that show up. If I click on this one right here, and let me zoom in. If I click on this one, any one of these, any one of them, it's going to become the active node. Once it's the active node, and you know that because it's a white box, just hit delete on your keyboard. And delete. And look, it keeps changing to the next active node, so I can just keep hitting delete. And there, that's gone. I don't need it. Click off, and that gets rid of the nodes. And we're good. All right, so we're almost done. There's just one more thing we need to do, and that is to grab him, hold down the shift key, grab the card, come over to the modify panel, and say subtract. Perfect, it worked well again. It looks kind of weird. You'll see these boxes here and you get kind of scared, but don't worry about them. Just click off and they're gone. So the only thing yet we have to do then is, well, wait a minute. I want to grab him and the box, and I want to say object, make a compound path. Remember, I want to show you why you want to do this for Cricut in just a minute. So we could change the color if we want to, I don't know, seahorses are usually brown, right? Or the card, oh, I just made the card brown. That's okay. So the other thing we would do then is right click, send this thing to the back so we have our score line here. And as I said, just because I learned this from Nancy and a couple other people, they like to make the score lines, I think, green. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it green so it sticks out easily. Whoopsie, you don't change it here. Not the fill color. I want to change the line color to green. There we go. And now if I want to, I can group these and send it. And again, so we got this. It's going to be a cut. I'm going to use my auto blade. And sometimes I will up these things right here because I like my blade depth to be a little bit deeper. And then I would, when this one was done, I would have this one unclicked, unchecked. I would just cut this first. When that's done, I would uncheck that and then get ready to do the next thing, which is this green score line. So I would want to make sure that it says score. I don't want it to cut. And it can use this tool, the auto blade. It's just on a very, very low knife depth. See, it's almost a, well, it is a 1. So it's just a way low knife blade depth. So again, you would just take this thing over to Cricut Design Space. And I'm going to show you one over there right now. Remember now we went and we made a compound path. Let me show you what it looks like if you don't make a compound path. So here we have these guys. Let me get rid of this one. And I don't remember what other one. Let's see. I think it was the red one. Yep. This very first red one that I didn't make a compound path. Watch what happens. I'm pretty sure it's this one when I bring it in. Insert the image. Yeah. See this one? See all these cut files over here? All of these files, little teeny weeny cut files, go with this one right here. This one, on the other hand, has just one, I don't know if I can get rid of this one. This one just has a little bit of stuff with it, the score line and the cut. Let's hide this one, and let's hide this one. And I just want to look at this one for just a sec to see what it looks like when we say make it. It might be just fine. It's this one. Okay, it looks like it's going to come in just fine. There is no score line that I can see on it. But here's the problem though. Sometimes when you bring in a file that has all these bazillion little cut lines, it really bogs down your Cricut and it gets unhappy. So if you're making these over in Silhouette, why not just follow the steps and make it a compound path, and when it comes over, instead of looking like this, let's hide this one. Oh, make that small. It's going to look like this, that just has a score line and one big cut line. So let's see. Does anybody have any questions about this? Let me look back in the chat for a sec. do I have to change the score line to a dotted line? I do not, Deanna, I do not have to do that in Silhouette as long as I say it's a score, and it's going to automatically make that pressure really, really low. Double check it on yours, but that's what I've found on mine. Let's see if I have any samples to show. Well, yeah, like, well, you really can't see anything, I guess, but on this one right here, this was the score line right here. I cut this on my Cameo, and then that just scored. It didn't cut all the way through, and I was just able to fold it like that. See, the purple one was the same. So you can see there was a score line that was put right here, and it's not the little holes, it's just a light score line. So you might want to test yours on some test cardstock to see what depth you would like your little blade to be at. So that doesn't cut through, but it makes enough of a line that you know where to fold it. Let me see. That was great. I saw yours, Deanna, because you put it all in caps, so thanks. Don't think I see any other questions. But isn't this a fun technique? I love this. Don't think what will work. For a lot of my cards, I use pre-made envelopes. Couldn't I just make this? Oh, absolutely. You can make, wait a minute. Couldn't I just make this on a 4.25 by 5. You know that a 4.25 by 5.5 piece is exactly what the front of this measures, right? The front of this measures that exactly. But maybe you mean you use a different size card and you are going to put this on the other side of card. And absolutely, you can make this card any size you want. Only thing you have to worry about is this. Say I made this card, you know, if I want to make a card that's really big for the Cards for Kids, because they probably like them big. I could make a big old card like this. Put my score line down the center. Let me just change it to that. Because remember, for Cards for Kids too, we don't even have to use envelopes. Come here, get this, type in anything, and I'm back to the flowers somehow. But let's see. I'll just stay with the flowers. Oh, I'll just stay with this one for right now. So it doesn't matter what size your card is, because all you're going to do is be making this. So remember, the uppermost part touches up here, the bottom's going to touch at the bottom after you put your offset on it, and this side's going to touch here. Now sometimes, you know, it might be better, instead of doing it this way, to go ahead and right click and say flip horizontally, because maybe it works better to have, but I don't think so on this one, because look how far over into the middle it goes. So I'm going to flip that back like that. That doesn't make that much difference, I guess. But what I would do then with my offset right here is, you know, double click here to get my points, click here, oops, not there, there, okay. Then I just delete this and this. So it doesn't really matter at all what size card you made. I just make that size because I get those envelopes from Staples, and that's the size that fits. That's what I make mine, A2 size. That's what these cards are, Barbara, are A2 size. Because, and the reason I'll show you, they're definitely A2. Because notice, well, this one got a little bit crazy big. Let's change its dimensions just a tiny bit. So this should be 5.5 high, 5.5, and it's going to be 8.5 wide. And you're saying, but wait a minute, my cards are only 4.25 inches. That's because what you're talking about when they tell us what the A2 size card is, it's when it's folded. So if this whole card from here to here is 8.5, when it's folded in half, that makes it 4.25. Does that make sense? So again, in other words, if you look down here, this whole card is an A2 size card. It measures 8.5 from here to here. And it measures 5.5 from here to here. But when I fold it in half, that's when it measures 5.5 still here, but here is 4.25, because 4.25 plus 4.25 is 8.5. And the reason why I really like making my cards this size is because you can get 2 of them out of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Oopsie. If you have an 8.5 sheet of paper, cut it in half, and you can get 2 of them. 2 cards. Let's see. I did the inside of my cards different. So, this one, I just taped, this was what I did, the purple, I cut that out, and then I taped that with my glue gun, or my tape gun, my ATG gun, to white. That's how I did that one. This one, I just taped the whole thing onto a blue card. Well, not even the whole thing. I cut this thing in half, because remember, it would have been a whole big sheet. I decided to cut it in half and just adhere that to blue. And I thought that looked nice. Let's see, I got a couple other examples. This is another one that I did to the white all the way. This part's a little bit loose. If I had some liquid glue, I could glue it down if I wanted. And again, I put that on the white. This one I did differently. Didn't show you guys how to do this part, but you can also just take the white or whatever's going to be your inside card and cut that the same shape, and that's how I got that. And this could be pretty too well, yeah, I always like to line mine because I don't want all my sentiment and stuff in there showing. I just think it looks pretty, but you might like to have that extra, the shape here. Okay, good. There's that. I think that's it. The card samples. Let me see. See if there's any other. Okay. Okay, so you do make yours 8 too. Okay. Great. Glad it answers your question, Barbara. Anybody else have any questions? Tammy says she goes to the Dollar General and gets 10 cards and envelopes for $1. That's a good deal. Let's see. Wait a minute. All I see is Carmen saying something about blaming her husband. Oh. Husband called and made me miss the last few minutes. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys. Don't think anything of it if you have to watch videos again and again and again. You get a little piece every time. And that's how you learn, by revisiting things. And each time you go back again and revisit, you'll remember just a little bit more. Oops, so you guys are just watching me scroll through my chat. Okay, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I'm having a ball making these. I think they're gorgeous. I haven't ventured out to see if there are other kind of stencils I could use. I've only used the ones from that defont.com. And as I said, this was not something I came up with. I saw it elsewhere, but I just thought maybe I would make a video because I think you guys might like it too, especially for making cards for kids. So, yes, that's it. Unless anybody else has any other questions. Let me look really quickly. It's a lot of money to mail a card. Show you how to write on the inside of the card. Yeah, that would probably be another whole video because I have done that before. Because I'd have to like have my camera set up to show you that, Cheryl. but I can certainly look into doing that again. Yes. Wait, you mail the birthday card to your friend in Florida, costs $4? Yeah. Yeah, just make regular size, I guess, unless it's the card for kids, because you just throw those in one big envelope and send them. All right, bye, Chow. Thanks for coming. Bye, Carmen. See you guys again soon.